TRIPS is the World Trade Organization's agreement on trade-related aspects on intellectual property rights. It's a multilateral pact to protect intellectual property. So what is it? What will be the impacts of a TRIPS waiver? Firstly, let's go back to what it is that we need. What we need is that at the most immediate, the majority of the world's population will get vaccinated so that the world achieves herd immunity, and not just a few countries, meaning COVID-19 vaccine should be freely available for everyone everywhere. So the current situation is that the big pharma-controlled capacity, the current capacity, is that it's not enough to inoculate the world's population at the soonest possible. Its capacity couldn't deliver to the world's population in time. And currently, 80% of the global supply has already been secured by the rich countries. So, but it's also a fact that there are many vaccine manufacturers around the world, including in countries in Asia like Bangladesh, Vietnam, Thailand, and the obvious ones like India and China. They are willing to make hundreds of millions of doses and have come forward to say that they are ready to do so if intellectual property barriers like the TRIPS barrier were removed, and that the vaccine recipes will be shared and know-how will be shared. Asia does. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, how safely, though, can that kind of recipe, as you put it, be shared?
So the WHO has launched last year the COVID-19 Technology Access Pool. This is CTAP, where pharmaceutical companies can share their recipes and know-how, and other manufacturers can tap into that. However, to date, there's not a single one that has shared their recipes as of yet.
Yeah. Pharma companies, of course, argue they've spent billions developing these vaccines. It was a race against time, as we all know. They were developed in record speed, really. And it's just not viable if this waiver comes into effect so soon. Is that an argument that holds water for you?
So there were over $100 billion of taxpayers' money that went into vaccine science. For example, 97% of the funding for AstraZeneca and nearly all the funding for Moderna came from government. Pfizer did not get direct public subsidy, but Pfizer benefited from billions in pre-orders from the US government, which had the same impact. And their vaccine was developed by BioNTech. As you know, it's a German company that received hundreds of millions in government support. And to note, Germany is one of the blockers of the TRIPS waiver at the moment.
And that's a good point, because we're seeing the UK, a number of European countries, Australia hasn't signed up to it. Will it come to countries like Australia agreeing to this waiver if we've got much bigger countries that we need to get on board?
Yeah, so Australia is one of the blockers, but there's also a lot of G7 countries, the richest economies in the world, are blocking except for the US. So that's Canada, Japan, Germany, and many G7 countries.
It is interesting because Australia itself is struggling, and lots of other developed nations are also struggling to get access to the vaccine. So it's developed what the WHO sees as this two-track vaccine process. How much is this going to slow our capacity to recover from this pandemic?
The People's Vaccine Alliance has calculated that if current trends continue, it will take the world's poorest countries until 2078 to vaccinate their populations. That's like 2078 minus 2021 is 57 years. It's like another lifetime for me, more than a lifetime for me. So, and for example, countries like Pakistan, where only less than 3% of the population were inoculated. Vietnam, 2% have received their jab. So these countries in Asia in particular too lag far behind the G7 countries, such as in the United States and United Kingdom, where over 50% of adults have been vaccinated already.
So just how confident are you that this waiver approval is going to get through?
Currently, the prospects of it being approved, given that the WTO is a consensus-based body, just one single country who will oppose that proposal, it won't pass. So it's a pretty stormy situation. So I'm not sure.
Well, something to watch with interest. Dinah, thank you so much.
Thanks, Bev.